Hello, it's me, and we're going to revisit, by request, a situation of a potential parity that can happen with a 5 by 5 by 7. So, taking a look at what we have everything is basically in. It's solved, save for two edges over here, top edges. Now you can see that this is a red one amongst oranges and an orange amongst red. So we've got a little bit of a parity. Now this isn't the classic parity that you might think. This is not opposite here. It's actually on the opposite side, but it's sort of on the other side of the edge. So this is on the far right, and this one is on the far left. So now to get this kind of a parity means that you did not solve it the way that I solved it. Because the way that I solve it necessarily will be a situation where these will all be in. So if you come across a situation like this, I would suggest either number one, look at my tutorial in terms of how I did it, and you'll never end up with a situation like this. Or number two, we're going to have to do something a little different in order to get out of this. Now the way that I did the tutorial is I basically solved it like a 5 by 5. And in solving it like a 5 by 5, these were put in before it even reached the cuboid form by way of edge pairing and by way of doing edge pairing algorithms. So when looking at this, I never run into this situation when doing a 6 by 6 by 7, which would be the closest approximation to this, or even a 4 by 4 by 5. It just doesn't work out this way with me. So as such, I can't really solve it like that. I'm going to have to pull it out of the situation by kind of taking it out of the cuboid form, do edge pairing, and just solve it again. So what's the best way of doing that? Well, if I were to kind of abandon the whole cuboid form at this point and just do edge pairing, I'm going to just do exactly that. And I'm going to pretend like I've got the last two edges over here. Now I can't edge pair it like this. As you can see, it doesn't really line up. But what I also have to do is I have to roll this edge in with this over here. As you recall, when it shapeshifts, eventually you end up with extended pieces. These become extensions of each other. So I can no longer look at it like this is sort of a side by itself. I'm going to have to roll it in with this and just resolve it from there. So I don't have a good quick and dirty algorithm to fix this. I just have to kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit. So I'm going to treat this like it was putting in edges. So here's what I'm going to do in order to make it symmetric. I'm going to have to move it out like this. And now in order to line this up, what I'm going to have to do is move this so that these edges are in the proper configuration with this, which generally means turning it down here, and then from here, turning it over here, up like this. So now as you can see, these edges can pair with these and fall in the proper position. That's really what I have to do. So what's the proper position here? I'm kind of abandoning the cuboid form at this point. Well, I do have the algorithm which will flip these guys. So I'm looking at this. This will come here and this will come here. That's not exactly what I want to do. So let's kind of roll it around the other way. Over here. Is this closer to what I want? Well, the algorithm will put this to here and this to here. So it looks like no matter what I do, I'm going to end up in a situation where I'm not going to be able to fix it with one fell swoop, which is okay because probably in terms of this, I may want to put this over here anyway. So this will come here and this will come up here. That's what I'm going to be doing. So to do that algorithm, to move it in, I'm going to move this like so, and then do R, Fi, U, Ri, F, and swing it back. Alright, so what that did is it did flip that. Obviously we didn't quite get the shape of it right, but now we're gonna fix that right now. So these two are in, these two are in, these guys have to be put in approximation with each other as well. So let's go ahead and continue to move these around. I'm actually gonna put these on opposite ends here, like so, and let's see what we got. Now what this is gonna do is, that's not exactly what I want either. Now again, I'm not even worried about the cuboid form at this point. So what this is going to do here with this next one, this will come over here and this will come over here. So these two are going to be swapped like this. And I'm going to use the same cubic strategy with the large cubes as doing the 5 by 5. So this will swap here, this will swap here. So I'm going to move this in like so. Well, it's going to kind of be out of alignment if I do that, but that's okay. So this will move in here like so. Then I'll do my R Fi U Ri F and swing it back. Okay, so what that did is that placed this. It did place this, but you can see we have this parity situation here. I'm going to get out of this by using the standard Red Bull algorithm that I've referred to, which will basically flip-flop these guys. It'll move these in the right position by flip-flopping these. So this is now back, and this needs to be flip-flopped. So the way that I'm going to do that, the classic Red Bull strategy, this will be R, and this will be L, and this will be B back over here, and this will be F over here. Again, using these last two here. So that's going to be 2R, 2B, 2U, and L, Red Bull, see? Then 2U, RI, 2U, R, 2U, and then 2F, R, 2F, then finish it off with a LI, 2B, 2R. Okay, what that did is that put these in place and these in place. Now, again, this is just to get back in a way that I would have normally done it. Obviously, it took us out of the cuboid form, but my whole goal before getting into the cuboid form was to get all my centers and get all my edges and then deal with this extra layer some other way. So let's continue to follow suit with my solve. I'm just going to now solve this like a 3 by 3 with little extensions here. So I'm going to get my green layer in first. Now hopefully things didn't get thrown out of proportion too badly. This comes, well, actually this will come here, so my basic shape should hopefully be okay. I've got my bottom cross here, fill in the edges. Here's my green and black. And of course, I take any excuse to be able to use these puzzles. Now bear in mind, this would have been this way if the strategy that I used was followed. Never would have run into that trouble. And once again, even after all of my uses of this puzzle, the turning is still great. Alright, so we have actually our second layer. We don't worry about these as of yet. And now we're going to get the top part here. Now this may seem a long way to just get one simple parity out, which it probably is, but it just goes to show that it was a stray from my usual way of doing things, and this is the only way I can think to do that. Anyway, now we just put these guys back in. Turn. Okay, so we've got that in. Now, what I did is I basically just moved the parity by doing this away from here, and I moved it down here, to which you may say, well, what was the point of doing that? Why is that any good? And the reason is because in many ways it's easier for me because I don't have these top ones that I have to deal with. It's purely these bottom ones over here. From here, I can now use the strategies that I use with the 6 by 6 by 7 if it existed, actually with the 4 by 4 by 5 and even the 5 by 5 by 6, I can do that because when this parity was up here, I couldn't really trade anything for this piece. This piece was this piece was this piece. I could not trade any other piece like down here. It would stand out like a sore thumb. But here, I can use this piece, I can use this piece, I can use this piece. So I can actually have a lot more variation of what I can do and use the same strategies. So let me go through that again, because this is a lot more easy for me to deal with. And that's why I needed these to be solved at the top so that I can keep these tops and bottoms exactly what it is. But this orange one I can borrow from, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that I can borrow from. And it's not a super cube, so it really doesn't matter at this point, and I don't have to worry about extended edges here. So when I did the cuboid strategy with this, what I wanted to do is say, okay, I want to solve this, but I don't want to cause any issues with anything else. So I can turn this down here. Now when I do this, as I'm solving for this, these edges are going to come out, but they're going to come out potentially in a very predictable way for me to place it back in. But if I turn this here, obviously I'm going to want to turn this over here to create this side. Well, how am I going to do that without messing everything else up? Well, the way that I'm going to do that is I have to make it to where these guys here are protected, and this is the one that's going to be moving. So quite simply, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put one color, say blue, over here, and then another blue over here, so that when I make my double turns, it's going to be fine. So I'll put a blue here, and I'll put a blue here. So a green is here, green is down here. Blue is here, blue is up here. And I did this because notice when I turn, these guys are not going to be affected by that. So that's sort of the reasoning. But what I need to do is I need to move this in place along in here. Now, I'm not going to worry about a lot of these sides as of yet. I'm not going to worry about these guys here. These I put in with cuboid strategy. Right now it's purely creating centers here. Now this is like an extended center that I have to put in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this into here and this into here. And I already know these guys are going to be messed up a little bit, as will these, but I can more easily put those back in. Now the other issue is that these centers are going to be made askewed, but don't worry. We're going to deal with that in time. What about this side and this side? I have to move something into here. Well, what I'm going to do then is, why don't I put, say, another green one to replace this side over here? So what I'll do is I'll bat this out, double turn, and bat this in. So we're good over here. In which case, I'm going to want to put a green one over here as well, because I'm going to move that down, so I'll need a green one. So I'll need another green one here. So I'll bat this out, double turn, bat it in, and maybe turn it back if I'm so motivated. All right, so let's see what that's going to do. I double turn this, in, 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 in. That was my goal. Okay, so I've done that. Now I've got a problem over here, but that's okay. We can fix all that. So let's go ahead and put in our edges here. Okay, so basically I coordinated to where these guys were here and these guys were here, just by kind of wrapping things around. Now what about these guys? Well, what I have to do is I have to make it to where a double turn is not going to change the color. So if I double turn it like this and put it in this position, orange will go to orange and red will go to red. So then I can just go 1, 2, 1, 2, and look at that. Everything was brought back. So basically I can reconstitute all of my centers like this. Now let's see if that is actually in the proper position, and it is green to orange. So basically what I did is I just brought things back to a configuration that makes sense. I took the parity out from here and put it down here, and I did that because I can do a lot of turning around in order to do that. The rest is standard cuboid strategy. The first step, once I get it here, is I need to make sure that I've got my center placed. So that's just going to be a matter of positioning and turning. So I'm going to turn this like so, and I'll double turn here, turn it like so. And double turn it like this. Okay. All right, so as long as I have the center here, I'm doing okay. Do I have all my edges? Yeah, I kind of planned it that way. So let's go ahead and bring in our bottom cross here. Okay, and then it's done. So that whole rigmarole was to show you why, number one, I don't do it in a way that you could possibly get parity on these two sides, because I just don't know how to do it. But if you are to get parity, it's best to put it on these sides here, because as you can see, we can use classic 4x4x5 or 5x5x6 strategies to do that, and just finish it from there. So I would suggest solving it like the 5x5, and making sure that at the end all of your tops are fine and it's just the middles that you have to deal with. So hope that helped.